All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Comics for All. This is our second stream today for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. Today, we are joined by two guests, two people who get to create cool stuff in the comics world. We have Brian and Dustin. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedules.
Thank you for
Dustin,
having
let's
us.
start with you. If you can just kind of introduce yourself and how in the world did you get into the world of comics as a creator and a reader?
Oh man, that's a loaded one, right?
It
So,
is.
I'm Dustin Brunell. I own Ethereal Publications. We're a rather large indie comic company. We've got 21 IPs at the moment,
Wow.
90 something employees, including that guy right there. He works for us. He's a great guy.
Sometimes, maybe.
So, he's a good dude. So, but getting into comics, I grew up in Virginia, in Chesapeake, in the middle of nowhere. And we lived on a farm, my grandfather's farm, and there was nothing much to do other than play with action figures and run around like a hoodlum and read comic books, right? So I did that. We'd go up to the 7-Eleven. My grandfather would buy me an issue of whatever was on the rack at 7-Eleven, when we just happened to go in there. So you never saw anything that was continuity, right? Like you'd just go in there and you'd get Captain America this month, and
Whatever was there.
There'd be a Spider-Man, whatever you were lucky to get your hands on, And so we got into that, and that was fun, and that like elevated my love to read and whatnot. And then as I got older, I just kept doing it, kept collecting. When I worked for the government for a while and got out of doing that and opened a comic shop. I did that for a few years. And then I moved to Tennessee because my parents were never around their grandchildren, hadn't been since they were born. And they asked us to move up here to be around them. So I did that. And my wife was still working. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do for like a living, And my Uncle Les died. And I wrote a eulogy. And I put the eulogy up on Facebook. And I knew a bunch of folks from owning a comic shop, and everybody was like, well, you should write comics. And I was like, bullshit. I can't write comics. That's not a thing. Like, that's a pipe dream. Who can do that, right? That's like becoming like a movie star or an act or a like musician, who can make a living doing that. So I wrote a book called The Listener, and I think it did like $1,000 like when it dropped. Bless you.
Bless you.
That's all, like from all the venues I sold it at, I think issue one made like $1,000. And I remember I dropped like 8 into it to make it, right? And I was like, well, shit, I don't know if this is going to work. Tried that a few more times. And then we put out a book called Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs. And it changed everybody's lives that was involved with the brand at the time. And I think our first issue globally did like 16,000.
Wow.
And then after that, I guess the rest is what, history now, because I've been doing it almost 6 years professionally. I've probably written 40 to 50 issues currently. And we release probably 24, 25 issues a year right now.
Dang.
So, I mean, we're up there with Boom and a couple other small large press indie companies, so we're happy with where we're at, and Brian is elevating that in different directions and moving us in different places, and so that's about it, man. I like to write the funny books and do the stuff.
Excellent. Brian, I know you already basically answered this yesterday, but put a different spin on it and see what you can share with us.
Alrighty, so I was dropped on my head as an infant a lot and had brain damage, and no, I was born with the special needs, made fun of a lot. These two shows were my best friends growing up and my surrogate parents because my mom was handicapped, disabled. Loved comics from that. Not going to lie, it was my escapism.
Mm-hmm.
And it just stuck with me. I internshiped at Wizard Magazine in college way back in 03, 04. And then was a big part of Digital Webbing, which was a forum for independent comic creators in the mid-2000s. Try to do my own self-published comics, but those cost money, and as a single dad, you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You can get fruit stamps, but you can't get comic book stamps, which is completely
Bullshit,
Ridiculous.
right?
What a shame.
I know. But then over the years, I worked at a film studio. I ended up working at a publishing house and got into ghostwriting prose novels. Around 2015 is when I started realizing, hey, people need ghostwriters for comic books. Here we go, back to my original love. Did a couple of stuff I can't say because NDAs, unfortunately. But over the last 4 years, I branched out to be writing for Skull Valley Comics, Absent Minded Studios, River Comics, Triple Jacks Productions, and then ultimately Dustin got stuck with me.
Hey.
I'm okay with it. I'm pretty okay with it.
So now it's a working relationship.
Yes.
And then actually, I'll start with Brian on this one too, since you kind of touched on it. Can you describe your first steps getting into the comic industry and what was actually your first published work?
The first published work, I can't give a title because of NDAs.
Got it.
Was in 2015 for someone who actually ran a farm up in Vermont. He was a backup singer for a group in the 80s, Shalimar. So he had a lot of connections. He knew a producer. They worked amongst themselves. I wrote a graphic novel for them, adaptation of a TV series. So I can say it never flew. The guy was, that's a different story, personal story. Never trust somebody with a man bun. I'm just kidding. And then I ended up doing I don't want to say a manga, but a manga-inspired comic book that did have a deal with Dark Horse with somebody around 2016, 2017. That kind of fell through. What you find out with ghostwriting, with clients, freelance writing, is everybody is gun-ho up until a point. Then it fizzles. Or they just want a blank check to Hollywood. Hey, I have a great idea. Write me a comic book. It's going to get us millions. That's not how it freaking works. But then, just resilience, persistence, sticking with it. And, last year I was very distraught with 2 clients of mine. I'm not going to get into the technicalities, but they were very much toxic. And I know there's 3 sides to every story. Person A, person B, and the truth. So this is just mine. But one of the people I met on one of those jobs introduced me to Dustin. And but that's pretty much how I got into comic books, how I got here. Bugging Dustin every single day, nagging.
I'm okay with it.
Dustin, about yourself.
Like you said, I wasn't like Brian had this like lofty goal to get into comics. That wasn't my life. You know what I mean? I've been collecting, like I said, since I was knee high and whatnot. But it was like, what they say about need, creates necessity. Necessity creates invention, right? So, I was, again, somebody said I should do it. A couple people, I did it. I wrote for other people when I started. I didn't enjoy that at all. Because when you first get in, even the indie scene, right? And again, we'll leave names out of this because we're good people like that. But there are folks that will take advantage of you everywhere you turn around. They want you to work for free. They want favors for free. They want all the stuff. And there's no guide to this. So when you walk in, you're like, oh, cool, that's what I need to do. I'm not, a stranger to having to earn my stripes. So if that's the case, whatever, I'll do what I need to do. And I did the stuff, and people just kept going, give me more. We want free stories. We want you to write this, write that. And I stopped. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. So like I said, I put out The Listener. It didn't do great, but it did well enough for me to go, maybe I could do something else. But Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs was the jump for everything I've done now. Like everything I do now. Most people know that title before they know any other title. That or, Theater 7. Theater 7 is pretty popular. So is If It Hops. If It Hops was another big one. It taught me what a furry was because I had no idea. You know what I mean? I had no clue. Look, I'm a Ninja Turtle.
So our comics are educational, people.
That's
Hooked
exactly
on phonics,
right.
You don't need that anymore.
Right. Just read comics. You'll be good. No,
Our comics.
Our comics. That's right. So I created If It Hops because I liked Ninja Turtles and I liked Street Sharks and Biker Mice from Mars and whatever else, that came out when I was a kid. I watched it. So they weren't, furries to me. They were anthropomorphic characters and a lot of things. So we put out If It Hops. I probably got 1,100 emails within a week of If It Hops dropping and people talking about how great they were for the inclusivity of it. And I didn't understand. I wasn't trying to be rude or anything. I just didn't understand, because to me, a furry is someone that dresses up and does their thing as a individual, versus an anthropomorphic character being someone that was changed magically or by science or whatever else, or a werewolf even, whatever. And
Right.
so, but I learned, and I was so grateful because that group of people that were into that kind of thing picked up If It Hops and pushed If It Hops around. And so, the notoriety continued to grow with that type of product. And then we just kept going. And we went I went like 2 years riding the wave of those books. I just kept doing them as fast as I could do them, because I enjoyed it. I mean, it became a full-time job within like 2 years. But then it was a full-time job where I was making enough, you know what I mean? I was making enough. And then we brought a couple more people on. We started growing the management group a bit. And then we started doing 2 books a month. And that was at the point we probably had 65, 66 employees at that time.
Wow.
And it was just one of those things where it was like, holy cow, this is a thing. We're doing the thing. We're doing it like we said we would do it. Because when you start, you're just sitting there going, oh man, everything's expensive. How do you do this? How do you do that? Like we got Walmart approached us last year, and we got with Walmart last year. So we sell on Walmart.com. They brought us out to an event, I don't know, a couple months ago in San Diego. That was super fun.
Cool.
But we're branching off. We're doing lots of things. We've got a video game live stream that we do once a week now, which is super, super fun. And that's thanks to Brian, because I had done so many shows that I was like, I don't do shows no more, man. You know what I mean? Because I don't. This is the first stream I've done in a year.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yes, like I swore it off because it was like, as much as I love doing it, it was, I just did it so much that it was just like,
yeah, I got burned out.
Seen it, right? Everybody's seen it. Everybody knows what we're doing. So whatever. But they're fun. They're a good time. We're great. Super grateful to be here. And as soon as I saw you were wanting to do one, I was very interested because I had not seen your name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say I've seen a lot of them. We'll put it that way. I've seen a lot of the names. And I was
like Santa Claus.
Right.
The list.
Right. So I started, it was like, well, I know what it's like to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Let me reach out and I'll volunteer because fuck knows how hard it is to get somewhere.
Yes.
And I was gung-ho to do it. So here we are. We're excited. We've done the stuff, and I am an open book to anything that you have questions about or anything while we're here today.
Well, that's perfect because it kind of rolls into the next section I've got for kind of building ethereal publications and kind of what that looks like. And if you do have one, or if you don't, that's fine too. But kind of what is, in your mind, the mission or vision of ethereal publications?
So I tell Brian and I tell everybody else all the time, and he could attest to it. I never wanted to be rich. That's not what it's about. Because I'm not rich now. I live well, but I'm not anywhere near rich. And so it was like, my goal was to always just have a place where everybody could live comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
It started like year 2 when I started realizing I needed to do my own thing, but you had to have people that wanted the same goals that you do and wanted to be where they are. It couldn't be like I just went and got a guy for, $7,000, $8,000 a year, $9,000, whatever it is, to come and be a part of something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It had to be people that wanted to legitimately be there, because it's not easy. It's all that's hard. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's all hard. You know what I mean? You're talking about like right now, until up to like 8 months ago, I wrote every book Ethereal puts out, like every single one of the 20 something we've got now. You know, it was all me. And when I started realizing that I couldn't do it all, it became very human. You know, I just felt like the reality of it was setting in. I'll be 40 this month. I was sitting there and I was like, dude, I am breaking my back on every single one of these books. I love them, and it's hard for me to give them to somebody else to write, but we have to evolve that way, right? Yes. You have to start delegating once you get to a certain point. Like there's meetings that I have to have with companies, but instead I was putting them off to write issues that we needed to go out, you know, or I was sitting down and I was going, okay, well, time would pass because I spent, 16 hours working on payroll. Yeah. You know, and it's like, oh man, I have to have this concept in by tomorrow morning. And so you get to the point where you realize you can't do it all alone. So like Ethereal has a full blown out management team, like from leads to managers to editors to directors. You know what I mean? They all have their part to play because you can't do it alone. There's no doing it by yourself. And no, but it all leads to the longevity of it. When I'm gone, I want Ethereal to be here long after.
Right. You're playing the long game.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like right now, let's be real. I could count on my hands how many comic book publishing companies that are here right now will be here next year. You know what I mean? Like in the reality of it, because I saw it. I watched it. I've watched it for years. You'd see somebody come up there like, I got a great idea. And they wouldn't even go get their business license. They'd just be like, I have a great idea. I'm going to sell this comic book. And then next year, you wouldn't even see them. And that's just the reality of this and the nature of this beast. When people are like, I'm going to do comics. I'm like, cool, I hope you got 20, 30 grand to start. Just to start. Like to walk in the door, you better bring 20, 30 grand with you. Because that first issue, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. It doesn't matter who you know, who your buddies are. You know what I mean? You're going to lose.
Yeah.
And so you walk in and the first issue, let's say it costs $9,000 to produce. Maybe you get 4,000 or 5,000 in sales, 6,000 in sales.
Yeah.
Right. You're still 3 in the hole. Right. So then you're like, man, but then you're like, how do I market it? I got to pay to market it. I got to pay, whoever's going to go and talk about this product, whoever's going to sell this product. They have to get taken care of. And when I was starting, I thought, man, I needed a manager, right? I needed a manager when I started, somebody to make sure I did the right things. Don't do that. Save that for later. Save your pennies so you have them to do what you need to do. I would sit down with someone that has done it. Not me, because I did that. I did that for years. I told people how to do it, and it's like lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? You got to find the right person that fits your model.
Very much so.
You want, right? Like we don't do superhero books. So you want to, if you're doing superheroes, you want a superhero guy that can talk to you about how you would do a superhero book or how you would market a superhero book. We don't do that. So I wouldn't be the dude. But if you were like, hey, Dustin, where do I put my money? I could help you with that. You know what I mean? I could tell you how to get situated. But you'll find that the industry, as large as it seems, even the indie scene, is much smaller than it actually looks.
Right.
Like we get the guys, I got cussed out by a guy, I don't know, a week ago, because he reached out and I've never spoken to him, and he sent me a message, and he was like, hey, can you promote my Kickstarter? And I was like, I don't even know who you are. You know what I mean? Like, what? Where did that come from? Well, you do well, you need to give back. Oh, is that how that works? Okay, sure. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to promote your Kickstarter because there are 90-something people employed by us that I promote everything they do.
Yes. So
it's like, why am I going to take money out of their mouths? You know what I mean? So you got to find someone that can help you out because there's no guidebook. There's no guidebook. And Brian will attest, we're nice to everybody. We're nice to fucking everybody. But there has this expectation of that everyone's going to succeed. And that's not the world of this. You know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
When I first started, dude, there were days when I sat and cried my eyes out because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to go have to tell my wife that this was not working, you know? But then there were days where I got to go tell my wife that we did really well. And she could go get that bag she wanted, or she could go eat whatever she wanted. And my kids could have whatever they needed. You know what I mean?
Happy wife, happy life.
That's it. And
says the single guy. Says the single guy.
Right, you know, you haven't found the right one yet. So
I have.
There is
my hand.
There is there is a lot to be said about treating people right and doing it the right way.
Yes.
And I think that's the way that you have to find your right way, and it'll all pan out the way it's supposed to. You know, I'm not to be like silly, but I think the path is there for anyone if they're willing to take the right path. You know?
Absolutely.
So
you touched on it briefly, but can you describe kind of what you see as the creative identity of Ethereal publications, or even is there a specific target audience, or is it you're just trying to reach anyone who enjoys comics?
We write books, and Brian again could probably touch on this a little bit more than I can, but we create product for people that are older, you know, from 20 up, 21 and up is what I would call an Ethereal book. And that's just because we grew up with it, right? We grew up in the thick of it. We were reading Image when it first dropped. We were reading, you know, Avatar. We were reading, you know, Dark Horse and all the stuff that people were like, that's not a comic book. And I spent...
Even breaking away from that. We were like in the 80s. I'm 42.
Yeah.
I remember at 4 years old watching RoboCop or First Blood Part 2.
Right.
It's different now. Much different.
So we create product that we know. So we create that type of product. And if people are interested in the action stuff, the hyper violence, the, you know, whatever, it's not just that, but it's comedy too. Like you ask what we like, who we're pushing toward, man, there's something Ethereal for everybody. Like there's we don't have a genre mold that we fit into. Like, I was talking the other day on our stream about the fact that so you have like people that come out and they're like, well, we made an adult cover, or we did a topless cover for our comic book. Cool. Do you have that content in your book? Well, no. Well, why? Why don't you? Why are you marketing that if you don't have it in your book? And if you see it on the outside, it's going to be on the inside. That's how I view it. You know?
Right.
So if you're into the more adult storytelling, we do adult storytelling, not to be confused with pornography. There's a very big difference in storytelling and just getting in the guts. You know what I mean? So I like my wife reads those love stories, right? Like we call them the red books at our house because they've all got like a red spine on. So,
the Hallmark Channel romance.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. And it was, you know, Fabio and shit when we were kids. And so it's like we like to write a story that you as a dude or you as a woman can enjoy as an adult. If you feel like this situation is probably going to happen, we probably thought it too. Right. So it's going to be in there, you know? I mean, so it's like we have a blue label and we have a red label. We have a red label that actually goes into the whole deal, you know, as grimy as you can get with it. But we also have the blue label where it just touches on things. You know what I mean? It's not like touching on ourselves or anything like Brian was alluding to earlier, but it's
no.
Yeah.
God.
So, but no, we put up books for everybody. We've got comedies, we've got horrors, we've got action. I mean, we've got mangas, we've got, I mean, you name it. Ethereal's probably we've got sci-fi, we've got fantasy, you know.
And I actually find that really smart on the business side is if you're offering multiple genres, multiple entry points for people to get into, then your chance of success of reaching someone is pretty high.
I mean, you may not like sci-fi, but you may like fantasy.
Yep.
You know, I happen to be a fan of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, so whatever, you know. But as soon as you start talking Star Trek, I don't know what we're talking about. But outside of that, you know, I'm pretty down with most stuff, you know. So when we started putting things out, it was like, well, first I'm going to write what I want to, what I enjoy reading, you know, and we'll see what people think.
Yes.
You know, and that's what popped off. So like Chuck Pignol is one of our writers and our lead editor. He tells me that he's happy with the book if I like it. He writes it for me. Because if I like it, other people will enjoy it. That's his viewpoint. You know, that's his bar where he sets it. If I can get you to like it, I'm not worried about anything. You know, so I'm like, whatever, you know, and like the stores, right? When we're in stores, people will be like, well, what can we buy from you to put in our shop? You know, what kind of books do you have? And you're like, I hate where people go, this is like this, and it's like this, and it's like this, and it's like that. No, it's not. It's not like those things, because those guys were super, super talented, and you don't know if you are or not. You're just making an assumption.
Yes.
You can't be like, I did a shark book and it was like Jaws. Fuck, it was. You know what I mean? You did a shark book. You know what I mean? It's your shark book. Tell me about your shark book. You know? So we'll sit in there for hours and talk to shop owners before we get our books on their shelves. You know, some people will be like, well, you do adult storytelling. Well, yep. But we do covers that you can put on any wall in any shop. Because of the simple fact that I owned a comic shop. I know what it's like to try to sell a book that I can't sell. I collect Cave Woman, and I could barely put a single Cave Woman cover on my wall. And I love Bud Root. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a great dude. Same thing with Devin Massey. Devin still works with Ethereal. So does his twin brother. So it's like, those guys are champions. But you couldn't put all their work on the walls, not all the time. So now we go, okay, well, we've got a certain selection of covers to put on walls. You know what I mean? It's a safe way to sell books.
That's right.
You know? So, and as far as things like cost go, we are $14.99 to start. It's a hefty ticket to walk in the door. But I'm going to tell you now, we don't print on newspaper. And I don't know if you've read Marvel or DC lately, but I'm real tired of newspaper. So we don't print on it. We print on thick stock. The books are great in hand. Brian's probably got one. I got one.
In the other room.
Whatever. I got one. I don't have one I can show.
I knew you were going to have show and tell. I already showed my girlfriend. Jeez.
Well, so like Crimson Sales is a red label book, right? It's a red label book. Big red flame at the top. But it's cardstock all the way through. So Marvel used to do cardstock back in the day.
Yeah.
And it would be, you know, you love the cardstock books, but they charged you $9.99. And it was like, oh man, that was a tough pill. You know, $9.99 was a tough pill to swallow. But when you're talking about a comic book, I like the fact that we can stand an Ethereal book up. Like it'll stand on its own on the table. Because every single page is cardstock, not just the cover. And that to me is important. It feels good in your hand. It doesn't feel like you're going to break it.
Yes.
You know, just because you took it out of the bag and board to read it. Because let's face it, I love you guys that flip books. I really do. I love it so much. I do. But I'm going to tell you what, I get comics to read them. That's what I get them for.
Well, as a librarian, that's basically the number one reason we don't order single issues is because the durabilities just doesn't hold up to people checking it out, dropping it in the drop box, taking it home. If they drop it in the car or whatever,
right,
don't hold up.
Absolutely. I mean, that's
it's like the old subscription services from Marvel. You didn't know what you got in the mailbox. It could be bent, rolled up.
Man.
Who knows?
I don't even want to hear. When we owned a shop, ordering from Diamond was like that every week.
Oh Lord!
Like they were in just boxes, and they would put like brown paper in the boxes, but it was never enough to keep the books from moving. So you'd get product that was tore up at least every week. So no, and I totally get it. But it's when it comes to the price tag, it's also the artists we pay for. We rarely use unknown names. Rarely, very rarely. Most of our guys are Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. And not only that, and gals as well. Same thing with the colorists. You know what I mean? And we... another thing that I think you have to do when you're doing this, you have to treat people right. Like you really do. You can't just be their friend. You can't just... But you have to treat them correctly. You know, so like we pay easily what DC and Marvel are paying the artists. And I know for a fact that some of them don't even get paid from our
Yeah.
legacy. So we are definitely on the spectrum for where people need to be taken care of. Because look, if, like I said earlier, and it's very important for anybody that takes away anything at all from anything I ever say, is you want people to want to be there.
Right.
You know
And
what I
that I
mean?
think that quality or that craftsmanship shows up in the work when the people
sure.
who are creating said product are, like you're saying, are taken care of enough that they don't have to worry about other stuff.
Right. Absolutely. For sure.
This kind of jumps right into the kind of the creation process for you guys. Can you share some lessons that you've learned about, publishing, script writing, layouts, anything of that nature, and kind of developing those first publications?
Good there, Brian. I'll let you handle that one.
I'll just handle the scripting side because
Go for it.
Dustin, yeah. Scripting, I kind of went over this before, but how I do it, I need to see it in my head. So I'll do what's considered notebook work. And I think Dustin, in a couple of the updates, he's gotten for me. I'm like, I'm doing notebook work now. Don't worry about what that is. But I will sit down with a notebook and make page thumbnails, how I want, what I want in each panel. Not so much the setup and layout, but like, okay, is this angled up slightly? Okay, what about, the breakdown of these 3 panels time-wise? I go through that multiple drafts of each page that's in my head. And then I'll put it aside for a few hours, a night, a day, no longer than 2 days. And I'll be like, all right, that works, that works, that works. And then I'll script from that. That's just how I do things. And like on the side as I'm thumbnailing, I'll be like, okay, that's a good place to have this dialogue. That's a good place. Okay, that's a good dialogue option. I write in full script, but mostly with an artist, if it comes to an action scene or something very fast. I like to talk to them before and be like, okay, what do you like to draw? Do you need something with strict, firm, instructions? Or do you think fight scenes are fun? And I'll be like, all right, on this page, this is the, beginning result, end result, do whatever the hell you want in between. You have the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sometimes that if I get the chance to speak to an artist, like I said before, a lot of the freelancing jobs, they don't even get an artist. It's, or they get one and it's a year later and I've already gotten paid and we aren't talking anymore because that's just life. It drips off. I did my job. Hi-yo silver away. But usually full script from that notebook work. That's how I operate.
As far as creating a product, right?
Yeah, creating an IP.
I'm always got music going, right? It's my wife says I'm on the spectrum in some way, shape, or form, but I always have to have some kind of sound. Like it doesn't matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, there always has to be some kind of sound. And so I'll just be sitting around listening to music, working on other stuff. More than likely it's shipping or anything like that, and I'll have an idea. And then I'll go to Brian or I'll go to Chuck and I'll be like, hey, look, I've got an idea. Should we talk about this idea? And most of the time, though, again, they can attest to it. I'm already set. This is what I want. This is how it's going to go. I just like to make sure that they're okay with it. Because I'll never push anything for the brand that the team's not okay with.
Yep.
That's just not the way I operate. And so, for Babes Going Dinosaurs, I was a big fan of Cadillacs and dinosaurs as a kid, right? Huge fan. And so, again, age, we're old as fuck. So Cadillacs and dinosaurs was a ton of fun. And it was done by Dark Horse, and it was just great. I think it was Dark Horse, fairly certain. But so back then, you didn't have a lot of indie comic books. Dark Horse was like the brand, right? Mm-hmm. So I was big into that book, and I remember sitting down and I was like, man, I like all these things. I'm going to throw all these things I like into this book. I'm going to see what happens. And so I'm walking through my living room, and my wife goes, what are you going to call that shit? And I was like, I don't know. Let's just be honest with people and call it what it is. It's Babes Going Dinosaurs. And so it's stuck. But as far as a normal process, it is literally me sitting down. I'll have a glimmer of a thought. I'll ruminate on it for like a day. I'm probably listening to Disturbed or Breaking Benjamin or Korn or something, and I'll just have an epiphany, and I'll be like, well, fuck, I need to write that down, right? So I'll put it down. Now this was in the beginning, because now I write a lot toward an artist, because I have the ability to do so now. I didn't before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have an artist like on staff, and I'll be like, man, I want to write a book. What does that guy draw well? What am I going to create that he can draw in particular? And you can ask our art team. I write to my art team nowadays. So it's like, we'll come up with a cool idea. And then opposite of Brian writes, and I can attest to it. He writes these amazingly in-depth things. And sometimes you have to just be like, well, hey, you know what I mean? That's a lot. It's a lot of amazing stuff. Those guys can't keep up with that amazing stuff. You know,
way to sugarcoat it for my ego. Thank you.
You know what I mean? But when I sit down, again, he can attest to this. I am very loose with a script, because I write to that individual and I know what their skill set is. So I want them to have a good time with it and infuse their soul and their ability into this product. You know, it's no fun if I'm just in there going, do this just like that. I want to see this on that panel from this angle. Cool, look, that shit's great. It really is. But that guy drawing that book, because of who we work with, knows what the fuck they're doing. So let them do what they know how to do. Because most of these guys have got 10 to 30 years in this industry and know what they're bringing to the table. You know, so it's like, right. Oh, yeah, let's make sure that, because there's times when they'll be like, I got a better idea than you. And I'm like, dope, let's run your better idea.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Why not? You know, it's fun. And that's how magic happens, because you're sitting there and, like, right now, I have Brian. Brian just wrote the first issue not long ago for a book that we're going to drop called Drain Me Dry, right? And he came up with this cool-ass idea and off of mine, and it was like this cool creative process. But Brian writes certain things. So now you go in and you edit behind Brian and you keep the soul of what he's created. And it's like, oh, this is incredible now, right? So now you got to go to the artist. Then you're going to take this to the artist. You're going to be like, look, this has had its edits. It looks great. Now we're going to hand it to you. And then my art team has their own editor. They have their own color editor, you know? So they're going to be like, all right, well, we're going to lay down loose pencils, and then we're going to turn it in. Most of the time, it'll go to Chuck because he's our editor. Our lead editor, and then it'll come to me, and I'll be like, yes or no. You know what I mean? I look at it briefly because Chuck's already looked at it. Why should I look at it? I just get the luxury of getting to see it, basically, right?
Right.
So Chuck saw it, he approved it, or Brian approved what he's working on, and then it goes. Then it goes right back to the artist. Then they'll drop inks on it, right? So then you're like, all right, well, inks, the whole book's been inked, it's gorgeous. Now what do we do? Now you have your flatter come in. You know, now me, because I write so loose, and they hate me. Well, they don't hate me anymore. They used to hate it. I don't tell them what colors to use. You know what I mean? So then it became a thing where they were like, man, we got to get ideas on colors. So April, or one of our managers, handles all that now. Like, she'll call me and she'll be like, give me some color ideas, like rapid color ideas for these characters and what they're wearing, what they're doing, da-da-da, you know? So then that goes back to the flatter. Then the flatter drops all his flats throughout the whole book, or her, whoever's doing it. And then it goes off to your colorist, right? And then they throw their stuff down. But every page gets turned in. So we have a bullpen. So all their pages come in when they're done. If they're not approved, they don't move to the next page. You know what I mean? That's how we do things.
Yeah.
And that keeps things from them having to do so many extenuous edits. You know, why should you have to go back and redo work, dude? That's a waste of time. Money can be made. Time cannot be regained, right? So it's like, all right, slow down. Let's rock these out. And it's a learning curve for most people, because most people that work in indie comics, they've not ever had any kind of stability or a structure. You know, like Brian was just talking about. You get these things where they're just like, hey, here, draw this. Okay. I drew it. I got paid. And then they don't ever hear from the people again. Or they write it and they get paid and they don't ever hear from the people again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we work continuously. Like right now, we have 8 books in production right
Wow,
now.
that is a lot.
So it is literally back and forth from artists to their leads to whoever they're working with. Brian reaches out. Like he just reached out to one of our guys the other day and introduced himself for the project that he's picking up. You know, it's like you are there to have this conversation. You know what I mean? You guys are helping each other build things. And not only that, you're building a rapport with your team members.
Absolutely.
Now you're, hey, I know that guy. I talked to that guy.
Yeah.
I can tell you about the people that work for us, their lives, their families, and everything else. Because it's important. It's relevant to us. Like we also do bereavement time. We do sick leave. We do whatever else that people need. You know what I mean? I don't care about timelines if someone's sick or someone's died, or I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm not going to fire you. You are members of our team, which is an extension of my family because you help feed my children. So I care about you and yours. You know,
Absolutely.
and Brian will reach out to people, make sure they're doing well. He'll reach out to people and make sure that they're on time. Same thing with April, Chuck. Everybody has a great rapport with the people we work with. Eventually, like right now, I think I'm only writing 2 of our 21 books. Like I was writing all of them till recently. You know, so it's a thing. It's very, very cool.
It is. And actually, you kind of, again, leads right into the next section on kind of the publishing and distribution side of things. But how do you, both of you can touch on this, how do you approach marketing, distribution, and building a fan base? I feel like that's quite a challenge in 2025.
That's all Dustin. That is all Dustin. When I came in, he already had this well-oiled machine with everything. Have we spoken about other ideas on how to, broaden those horizons to get more project awareness? Mm-hmm. We have. But right now, it's working. We're growing towards other avenues, which people will see in time. But, yeah, I'm just going to let Dustin say the rest because he's the brain behind it. He's the mastermind.
When you sit down and you talk about, I remember sitting down and being scared of marketing and scared of making money and how I would make money. Mm-hmm. And we just treated people correctly. That was basically all it was. It was being good to people. If we messed up on something, we fixed it. Like I'll tell you now, I'm one dude. I do all of the shipping. Every product we do comes into this is a shipping room. That's all this is behind me. Mm-hmm.
So just to interject, and our Kickstarters, they get 200 to 400 people every single campaign we do. Yeah. So all those issues, multiple covers, multiple variants are going right to Dustin.
Yeah, they all come to me, and then I Q&A. I go through all of them. I QC everything. So there's times that I'm up till 3, 4 in the morning to get orders out the next day. Mm-hmm. But if I've, in my tired stupor, have sent you the wrong issue, I'll replace it. You know what I mean? Like immediately. As soon as it happens, it's going to go out. As soon as you let me know, hey, I got the wrong book. Sweet, I got you. No worries. What do I need to send this back? What the fuck for? I messed up. Keep that. I'll send you another book. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you give it, as tacky as it sounds, you give what you give. You know what I mean? Like we're good to people. We treat people with respect. Mm-hmm. We answer any question. It doesn't matter how large, how small it is. We go to shop. We sign for free. We go to conventions. We sign for free. We give shit away for free. You know what I mean? We ship all over the world. We print in the U.S. You know what I mean? We only print in the U.S. Mm-hmm. We support artists all over the world. You know what I mean? It's like I realize what you are to me, and I value who you are to me. So when we started putting out books, we were honest. You know what I mean? We're honest. We're still honest. But it was like you just have to start off on that foot. You know what I mean? If you mess up, own it. You messed up. You're a small business. You messed up. Fix it.
100%.
Or, like let's say, I talked about paying your dues earlier. When you go to conventions, dude, when you first start, you're nobody. You're nobody. I mean, I've had my face on billboards now. You know what I mean? You're nobody when you first start.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get to be somebody without all these people that are supporting the product or buying the product.
Yes.
You know, like we had when we first started, we started doing Babes Born Dinosaurs. I did pillows, right? Did pillowcases, and there was only like one other person doing pillowcases at the time, so I did pillowcases, and it was fun. But the one difference was we did actual implants on our pillowcases, like real implants, and it was super cool. It was super, super cool. And it was different, and it stood out. And again, it got attention. There were people that told me that If It Hops was a dumbass idea and furry thing and this and that and talked all kinds of shit, right? Book sells. It does really, really well. And then all of a sudden, oh, man, aren't other people doing that now? There's like Battle Beast and shit now. And it's funny how that all works. You know what I mean? As if your favorite guy does it, it's great. But if someone else does it, it's not. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. So I realized I wanted to be people's favorite guy. You know what I mean? I wanted to be good to folks. I wanted them to like me back. It became almost I cared less about any minor detail and more about the larger overhaul of what we were doing as a business. I listened to the friends. We call them friends. They're not fans. They're our friends, so they're friends. So we listened to what they had to say. We took their feedback off everything that ever came out, and we used all that feedback. And I owned a shop for a couple of years, so it was like I had all the feedback from people that would come in and talk about comic books and what they wanted to see in comic books. Now, there are people now that are like, you don't do live shows, and you don't do a lot of shows around the country anymore. I don't, because there's no time. You know what I mean? Time is something, it's such a commodity that I can verse it. Like if I go to like, let's say that I went to New York, right? And I made, I don't know, 15 grand, 20 grand in New York, right? I'm going to turn around and pay almost all of that in going because I take team members every time I go. I pay for their flights. I pay for their food. I pay for their hotels. I pay for their tables. I pay for everything Ethereal does. None of our team members ever go out of pocket. So if we're doing a show and you wanted to see, let's say you wanted to see Brian Cochran at a show, I would have paid for Brian's entire trip, everything he did, and made sure that he had food in his belly to go home. You know what I mean? And that's just the way we do things. So to me, unless it's a huge, huge seller for us, I don't go anymore. You know, again, I did it when I first started. I did all of it. I traveled the country constantly. And it's just, I make more money being at home. You know what I mean? And because we want a website that does well enough on its own, you know? And so, and not only that, but we're on Global Comix. And from what I've heard, we do Monster versus most people on Global Comix. So, I mean, I couldn't tell you because I don't go into other people's bank accounts.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, what do we get? Like 300 follows a day on Global Comix?
Yeah, we're averaging that.
Wow, that's awesome.
But it's just how you treat people, you know? Like there's times, like we've got friends, right, that have been friends for years. I remember their birthdays. I send them original art on most of their birthdays. You know what I mean? It's because it's important to me. I don't need that original art, but I like to. That's my love language. It makes people feel good. You know what I mean? I remembered you, so I sent you this. I thought about you today. You know, like if you're on Kickstarter, right? So Kickstarter is one of those things that's like you can make an avatar, right? You can make your avatar. I may not remember your name because we work with a whole lot of people, but I'll remember your avatar.
Yep.
You know, and I'll send you something if I'm thinking about you that day. Hey, man, I hope you're doing well. You know, here's a digital copy of this. I noticed you didn't pick it up this time.
Right.
You know, because there's times like that. There's times that people can't pick up something, you know, because the world is not an easy place to live in. So, hey, look.
Ain't that the truth?
Right? Yeah. So if I notice that you didn't pick up this month's books, I'll probably just send them to you. You know, that's just the way that things are. And that's the way that it should be. You should give a shit about your fans or your friends in our case. You know, so I think that is the pillar of everything. You know, when you talk about building marketing, you're not selling your comics. You need to put that out the window. That's not what you're selling. You're selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling your team members. Those are the people that people see. Like, I don't need to be the lead singer of my own band. Never have. But at the same time, every day, if I'm talking to people, they know my face. They know that I responded to on the website, or Nathan responds on the website. Whoever got to it, you know what I mean? Hey, look, that guy reached back out to me. Or hey, my book got damaged by UPS, but they don't want to fix it, and he sent me a whole new box because that's just what we do. You know, you remember those things. Those are important things.
Absolutely.
It's not about, at the end of the day, it's not about an individual number or an individual sale. It's about encompassing all of those things together. But it's how many people have you touched as a person today? Brian, don't be gross. So, how many people?
Dude, brazen. Let's turn that around. How many people have you made feel warm and fuzzy? That's even worse. Just
that fair. But it is all, it all boils down to you. It's not about the product. Look, dude, I could tell you all day as a kid that I liked Lady Death, right? I could tell you all day I thought it was the cool book, right? And Evil Ernie and Ninja Turtles and whatever else. But I can't, like right now, I still collect turtles. I've been collecting them all my life. I couldn't tell you shit about those books right now. I could not tell you shit. But I can tell you about Kevin Eastman.
Yep.
About Kevin Eastman, you know, or Laird. I can tell you about Laird.
So true.
But I can't tell you about turtles nowadays because those guys aren't even selling those books. You know what I mean? So It's like same thing with Batman. Jesus Christ, how many people have done Batman since I was 8 years old? You know, so it's like, or the Hulk even. You know, I could not tell you, but I could tell you about the guy that I know as a kid that was working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And was kind to people or answered those blurbs in the back of the books when you could submit something. I'm going to tell you what, one key fact, I don't care what anybody says, and it's important to business if you want to get anywhere. Anytime somebody reaches out to you respond with kindness.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what it is. If they're shitty people, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Because it's all about you and the energy you put out. Let's say, like, I hate social media, right? I hate it. But I also enjoy the fact that you can reach out to me and talk to me if you want to. You don't have to go through my PR or anybody else.
Right.
You can reach out and talk to me and I'll answer you. You know, I probably should have somebody running my Facebook. I have somebody running my professional pages, not my personal one, but I probably should, just because the amount of messages I get in a day. But I enjoy talking to people. You know, I'll spend hours answering messages on Facebook.
Yep, that's huge.
You know, and because you made me feel good. So let me reciprocate that and make you feel good. You know, and not in the warm, creepy, fuzzy way, but in the nice way. You know, so that's it. That is the key to marketing, man, is being a good person. And people can say whatever and whatever else, but maybe you didn't succeed because it wasn't your marketing. Maybe it was your product.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
And kind of marketing promotion that goes right into my next section is kind of let's highlight what some of the new stuff you have coming out. Can you tell us about some of the stuff that's coming out in the next 6 to 12 months?
I'll let that guy go with that one.
Alrighty. So we can't tell too many details. I'm going to be vague.
Yeah, share what you can.
There are announcements coming soon. Right off the bat, we have a well-established Hollywood producer who's into the video game world as well. He's going to be handling an animation adaptation for a TV series for Babes Growing Dinosaurs. That is kind of a huge freaking thing. We can't announce anything yet directly until, you know, the ink dries. It's Hollywood, so it
right.
Yeah. We are also getting into prose publishing, novels.
Yeah.
A whole different avenue.
Yeah.
We can't tell too much. You know, one of the first books is going to be Dustin's biographical tale about how he raised this company, how he created it. There's going to be some tie-ins with comic books for the prose publishing. But those are the two big, huge things, because we are at a place where, our audience wants more content.
Absolutely.
Well, after this wasn't easy to come by, I need to attest that. A lot of, grit, determination, sweat and tears almost.
Oh, yeah.
But we are in the right place to cross over into other mediums with the IP and properties that Dustin has created in the comic book realm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You go now, Dustin. I'm done. I blew my...
You got all that cool stuff. As far as more normal things, we've got, again, we release 2 books a month right now. We're moving into 3 books a month. Tomorrow, Cretaceous 4 goes up for pre-order. Very excited about that. Love that book. It's a great time. Chuck's doing a great job with it. And then we're right after that, we've got 3 weeks after that, we'll have From Ashes to Iron, which is a red label fantasy book. It's about 2 dwarven brothers that are trying to reach the surface. They've been told that no one ever makes it to the surface or whatever. And they come across this orc, which orcs are, bad guys to the dwarves or whatever. And so she's in a rough spot. We'll put it like that. Some goblins have got her in a rough spot. And the dwarves save her because they feel bad for her. And they end up teaching her how to be a blacksmith over a year's time. And that'll be a mini-series. Should be a fun. I don't know how long, but it's going to be a good time. And that'll end up
January 2nd.
Yeah. I don't know how long the book is going to run, I mean. So then it'll be, that'll run right into Fallen Leaves, which is our main fantasy title right now. And she'll end up being a main character in that particular
nice.
Then we've got Kaiju Cuties. The next issue of that drops. And that is our highest selling product that we do. Kaiju Cuties tends to, right now, it's on track for over 100,000 over the past year.
Wow.
Is what that book is pulling. It's an amazing product. I love working with it. Win is the main guy doing the art on that. He's also doing the colors. But it's fantastic. It's super fun. But it's a red label book. So there is a lot of situational stuff going on. The first arc, their first kaiju battle, the girls are going against a slime. So, slime can fit into most nooks and crannies. So there's a lot of going on with that. And then something else drops. And then Brian's book drops in January. So that's exciting.
January 2nd, everybody. I'm not counting down the days.
He's not counting down the days.
No, I don't have enough fingers yet.
That's his first book of his own that he's getting published. I'm very excited for him. And right around that time, I think, actually, you know what? Hold on. I say that I don't know what I'm doing, but I have the release schedule on my other screen.
There we go.
We're working on. Let's see. But it's funny when people are like, how many products are there? What do you got going on? And it's funny because there's so many, right? You can't just be like, well, Ethereal has 1 book or 2 books. I remember when I first started my first year and I put out like 3 books in a year, right? Like it was insane to me anyway. Now it's insane because there's so many books that go out. All right, so our release schedule for the next couple months, and I'm doing this to titillate Brian at the same time, just to be mean. But so we've got, we just did Forever Blue, which was a ton of fun. That was great stuff. Crimson Sales is running right now. The pre-orders for that are up. That's our second highest selling product. and that's another Red Label book. They like the Red Label books. It's but that's pirates and shit. So that's
It is.
But we've got Cretaceous Live tomorrow. The Morgana issue 3 drops, and that's written by Dan Wickline. That's coming out in November. Then you got From Ashes to Iron, my bad. And then you've got Kaiju Cuties. And then right before Brian's book, we've got Babes Born Dinosaurs issue 8.
Oh, wow.
So the cool thing about issue 8 is, and that'll go up for pre-order on December 19th. The cool thing about issue 8 is every 4 issues we do trade paperbacks. So, and they're great. I forget what they call it. There's a type of printing, but they're really well stitched. They look great. All of our trade paperbacks are uniform, so they're all the same color, like your Marvel books behind you. All the same color. So we do that because I really like the uniformity. I like the look of that. But so every 4 books we do a trade paperback. One other cool thing about every 4th book, every time a trade paperback drops, we cease production, or not production, but we cease sales on variants for the prior 4 issues. So like our website, let's say we'll talk about Theater 7. So Theater 7 4 hits. Now you can only get cover A for 1, 2, and 3.
Got it.
You can no longer get the variants that we have, because the simple fact that I like people's money to hold value. You know, like if you go on eBay and look at Ethereal sales, they're a lot more expensive than what I sell them for, right?
Right.
So if you go to our website, you can still get the book for $14.99. You know, and a lot of people don't realize it's even there. You know, so they're out snagging it off eBay, and you're like, oh shit, dude, don't get it there. But eBay does have a great place where you can get the variants that we don't sell anymore. Now, another cool way to get variants, because let's face it, we're still a small fish in the larger world, right? As large as we are in indie comics, we're still a small fish in the larger world itself. So when you go, I want to come back and I want to collect all the Ethereal books or whatever. I like Babes Born Dinosaurs. I want to collect all the covers. It's difficult because a lot of them are limited, right? We don't do we don't do ratios because I think it's bullshit. I think it's absolute bullshit. Not everybody can afford 500 copies to get a cover. That's trash. So what we do is we go, all right, well, we've got 30 of them. Whoever buys them, buys them. You know? So there's people that chase those type of covers, right?
Oh, yeah.
The 1 in 30s or whatever. Now, they may not be sold anymore. So what we do is we do these blind boxes when we do pre-orders. And you can add a blind box to your pre-order on the website or on Kickstarter, wherever you're at. And I'll throw in metals, I'll throw in foils, I'll throw in whatever, because I think it's fun. I enjoy it. I love when somebody goes, Dustin, I think you messed up and sent me a sketch. I didn't mess up. I sent you that on purpose. It's great.
Yeah.
Glad you enjoy it. You know what I mean? Or instead of just getting a Gemini, they get a art mailer, and we've sent them a Blue Line original piece. You know what I mean? Just because. And again, it's all about giving back to the people that make it possible.
Yep.
You know, now you're getting for $60, $70, you're getting $200, $300 worth of product. And you're getting the books that you can't buy online, you know, which is super fun to me. It's not like a gotcha. It's like you're actually getting something that you couldn't get. And as much as I would like to, I say this, as much as I would like to, I cannot remember everything that everybody's gotten in these. You know, I tried my best to keep them, you know, from getting any kind of like duplicates in an order. You'll never get 2 of the same book in an actual order, but sometimes it happens. Like we have folks that order them every month, you know, and every now and then they'll get the same book because they've been buying the books for years, you know. But no, that's our schedule. We've got, what are we, in October? We've got 6 books dropping between now and the end of December.
Wow.
And that's including the books that is live right now and the book that drops tomorrow. But yeah, no, I mean, that's about the size of what we got going on.
Just the sheer number is impressive, though, to me. And I don't think you actually touched on this just yet, but are there, in any future projects, are there any themes or genres that you haven't delved into yet that you're kind of excited to try, if that makes sense?
So when we wrote Theater 7, I was very nervous. It's a very well received product for us. I was nervous because I'd never written comedy before. And working with Devin Massey was great because, again, he's been working on Cableman forever. So he helped me break my own barriers with that because I wasn't comfortable with like locker room humor and whatnot. It's fun, whatever, but I was like, man, we've done all these serious books. I don't know that I'm comfortable. And he was like, you're going to do it. It's going to be great. Just do it. Let yourself go with it. Go with the locker room humor. I'm like, I don't want to offend anybody. He was like, who gives a shit? You're going to offend somebody. It doesn't matter what you do. Just have a good time. Be yourself. Put out the content. So we did comedy, and we still release Theater 7. It's an ongoing series. A lot of fun. But I have wanted to do a mystery for a long time. Not Theater 7. If It Hops was going to be a mystery, and it's turned more into a serial killer type of deal than a mystery. But I think mystery would be fun. I think the genre would be something I haven't tapped into. Again, it's one of my weaknesses is comfort zone. Mm-hmm. I like to be comfortable when I walk in because I want to give you the best product I can. So I get nervous if I've not done it or I've not worked with it or I don't have somebody with me that has done it or worked with it, So mystery is a little bit different. We do a lot of horror because that's fun, Love stories. My Metal Girl is pretty love story-ish, so there's that. I wouldn't mind doing that again. They're fun. But no, I think mystery is my anathema, if that makes any sense at all. I would like to do it. I'm not going to say it's an Achilles heel or anything because I'm sure I could do it if I tried. I just haven't had the time. And as time goes on, like I mentioned before, I have less and less of it. Mm-hmm. So it's like when it comes to writing one, it's probably going to be Chuck, Brian, some new writer, Dan Wickline. It'll probably be from them before it's from me. Because right now, Brian touched on it. I'm working on my own novel, and that is so time consuming.
Absolutely.
That it's
ridiculous. Prose writing is a whole different beast.
I'm 5 hours a day in that every day right now. And then you're emotionally drained because you're writing about yourself and your life and your stories. And so you're just, you walk away from it and you're like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
For like the rest of the day, I got nothing. The kids are like, Dad, you should hear this. Oh, I'm good. I got nothing. I love you. Talk to me tomorrow. It's just, but you just don't have it to give. So, again, that's where a management team, a good management team comes in. Because, like, I can go to Brian, and if he asks me a question, I'm like, well, you can do what you think is the correct way to do it. Because I don't need to hold your hand. Yep. Like, I know that JT and April were talking about a couple covers that are going to release tomorrow, like different types of covers. And I was like, oh, maybe we can do it one way or we can do it another. You guys just figure it out and we'll put it on there. We'll use those, because there's all different types of styles. We do everything from glow in the dark to like bevel covers now, bevel metal covers. So, there's the only thing we don't do right now is lenticular, and that's not that we can't, we just don't. It's just.
And somebody just joined the live stream. How about that?
There you go. Welcome to the stream. But no, that's about all there is to it, man. When it comes to that kind of thing, that's about what I got on that one.
Brian, about you? Any upcoming things you're excited that are kind of out of your norm?
No, I don't want to sit here and sound pretentious. But because I've ghostwritten so much in TV, film, in prose, and the prose, somebody would tell me, hey, do a book on hedge funds, stock market. Do a book on the, a different faith than me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do a memoir on this. Do this. Do this. I've had to dabble in so much that wasn't me, but you got to make it me because, gonna be honest, freelancing with ghostwriting, as much as I feel passionate about the projects, it is about a paycheck. It keeps the lights on. I hate to say that. So it's baptism under fire. You don't get time to truly make it yours. It's more, okay, I'm very passionate. But coming out, drain me dry. One of the comics with Dustin that Dustin gave me the idea. I'm not going to say that's out of my comfort zone, but it's different than what I usually write. It is. You know, I don't want to give anything away. You guys will see it when it hits the Kickstarter. My own comic, I am very over the moon excited about that. Very excited. Just a brief, touching upon it. I touched upon it yesterday. I created the story in 2006 when my dad died, and I was a single parent. So it's that emotion. I'm not going to say it's overwhelmingly personal and elevated horror, but it's my heart with that. And then briefly, I was a single parent for 2 years. The 2 kids that I know of, there's probably a lot more out there, but their mother came back and I lost everything in custody. Home, car, everything, and was homeless. I drifted around all Massachusetts, New England, Vermont, hitchhiked from Mass to North Carolina, hitchhiked from North Carolina to Florida, Florida to Texas. Just, hey, it needs something. I'll leave it at that. But this was the story that was there to save my life. Because when you think about it, I'm going to fix my life. It gets overwhelming. How am I going to get last month in security? How am I going to provide that month for month? With the kids stuff, yes, they were number one. I'm not going to minimize that, but it's like, that's even more overwhelming. How am I supposed to go back to court when I got laughed out of it?
Right.
But it was always, this is going to get published someday. This is going to get published. It was a comic book in 2006. I did hire an artist for a 5-page sample. He's actually with DC now, way back in 2000. Now he is, but that's back then. Became a novel. I had a agreement with a publisher, I cannot say, for prose publishing, but they wanted to make it like Twilight. And that was just no any other idea I have, and I have 36 novels done, 78 film screenplays done. Any of those, take it and change it. But this, no, different. And Dustin has believed in me in the project, and it's finally time, and I'm over the moon, very excited. Just leave it at that. And yeah, I'm about to start doing spirit fingers of jazz hands.
You should be excited. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
It is. Well, that actually brings us to our closing section for today. I got questions for both of you. So since we're all comic readers, hopefully, what has been your favorite comic of this year that you've read? It can be a single issue, could be a trade paperback, anything like that.
This year? It's got to be this year?
Yeah, that's come out in 25. Yep.
Oof.
You can stretch it back to another year or two if you need to.
I'll answer that while you think.
You go ahead.
The Incredible Hulk run with Johnson.
Oh,
that
so
has
good.
Been
My
superb.
Goodness.
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
I'm going to get my heart broken.
Well, I've got the Immortal run.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay, I had my doubts with that when it first came out. It was like, okay, I know they're bringing it back to the original incarnation with, nighttime. Even Pat a little bit wrote about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But okay, how's this going to go through? But then they introduced Jackie McGee, obviously a reference to the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Del Fry and Clive, who were in the TV series, the 4th season episode, the first. I was like, all right, I'm sold. And then it just, Al Ewing did a great job of respecting the past while moving it to the future.
Yes.
You don't see that without these full-blown retcons. That's like, okay, I feel slighted right now. I feel like a lover scorned. It's, yeah.
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man right now is okay. But as I said last night, it hasn't been really good since JMS and Jenkins.
Agreed.
before Brand New Day. So I go through because I love the Torment. I love the character. I'll back it no matter what. You could put a big pile of poop in a Spider-Man costume and I'm going to be there, you know.
We're glad
But
you're not fair weather.
Yeah.
no, not at
Some of
all.
Romita Jr.'s art on Zeb Wells was rough. That was it's tough.
Man, we could
hated that.
knock a bunch of things. We're not going to do all that. There's
we're not.
It's been enjoyable so far, the new run with Kelly. It's been pretty enjoyable.
I am a huge Venom fan, like old school Venom fan.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything in the past like 4 years, 5 years has been insulting, we'll say.
Yeah, the King in Black and Beyond, as we'd say.
Anything that was before that, anything that was
Absolute Carnage was decent.
Anything after Lethal Protector, the original Lethal Protector.
Yeah, they redid it. So
hard for me to stomach, right? Like there's a quarter of my body tattooed in the symbiote. If we're being like legitimate, I mean, like it goes up my shoulder,
right.
down my back, and
like oddly enough, is that Eddie Brock is now Carnage.
So that's what I was getting at. That's where I was going because I'm a big Aliens fan, big Predator fan. Have been huge Spider-Man fan, ridiculous Spider-Man fan, but I haven't read it since Brand New Day. There's a ton of books that I buy, right? I buy because I'm a collector, I'm a fan, just like everybody else. I do not read them all, right? I have not read, like I own all the Alien stuff, the Avengers versus Aliens, all that shit, but the Batman versus Aliens, that the feel for that doesn't exist in this new stuff. You know what I mean? Even the Superman Aliens, it just doesn't exist. I would have rather read Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, which a lot of people didn't like. I really enjoyed as a kid. So the Dark Horse stuff has always been my passion. And so I picked up the Aliens, the Avengers versus Aliens. I read a couple pages and I put it down. Now, I've bought every issue of Spider-Man, every issue of Godzilla that's come out from Marvel and DC recently. I can't read them. Like, I just can't get into them as much as I would like to. But at the same time, I think my pull list is like $350 a month right now. And so I picked up, because I believe in giving back. All these cats, it doesn't matter about Marvel and DC. It's about the folks that are working on these books. It's important to show some support to the people that are out there breaking their backs to do the stuff that you like to read, right? So anyway, I picked up the trade paperback for the Eddie Brock Carnage stuff. And because I only read trades, I don't read my single issues. Just because, again, it's fucking newspaper most of the time, and I don't want to destroy it just by looking at it. So anyway, I picked it up. I thought I was going to hate it. Like, I really thought I was going to hate it because everything else has just been like, let's shit on Brock. Let's shit on Brock. Let's shit on Brock. And as a kid, when I was coming up, Venom was just as much Eddie Brock as it was the symbiote. You know what I mean? And as we got older, he became a backseat driver in his own book. So anyway, I read it. I'll preface this by saying I hate the fact that they made Mary Jane Venom. That's fucking stupid. And it's not because she's a chick. Fuck off. I love Scream, so I don't give a shit. But there's just something about the fact that she's not a character that can carry that weight.
No.
And so anyway, I picked up the Carnage run. I was like, what are they gonna do with this? What are we gonna walk into? And I enjoyed it. I really did. I like the fact that it is Brock being Brock, and he is his own character in his own book. I enjoy that because, again, even going back to the stuff with where he was anti-Venom and all that shit, and which was cool, whatever. But he still wasn't. He wasn't his own character.
It was all about Flash Thompson.
Right. All these deals. Well, even when he became the anti-Venom, even when you had the Venom Island arc and all this other stuff, it was still like he was a side character to all the people they brought in for these crossover events, until you did King in Black. And as much as I want to enjoy it, I was like, we have done this and done this and done this. Whether it's been in comics, video games, it doesn't matter. I mean, Web of Shadows was every comic that Marvel has put out for Venom in the past 10 years. I mean, we've seen it all. It's all been done.
Great game, terrible voice acting.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you had Wolverine with the symbiote in the game. You had Felicia Hardy with the symbiote in the game. I mean, all these characters. Anne Wang had the symbiote when she first got it way, way back.
Mm-hmm.
And we're acting like this is all new material. It's not new material. It's been done. The Hunger happened fucking 20 years ago, and we're doing it again. We're doing Lethal Protector again. We're just showing we don't know what to do with the fucking characters.
No kidding.
So, anyway, I loved this. I loved that he was his own character. I loved that he had a say. I love that he wasn't a backseat driver. I don't know where they're going to go with it. Bringing Misty Knight in was interesting. That's another character that's great. You don't see enough of. So, no, I think that the relationship, these two characters that hate each other, but they're forced to almost ride a moped bitch, you know what I mean?
Right.
Are trying to figure out how they can exist at the same time. That's interesting, But you wrote off Dylan like he's just been wrote off the whole fucking shit after you built him up for years.
Yeah.
He's gone. You wrote off Sleeper. He came in and he was like supposed to be the new symbiote and was going to be a thing, and that guy got wrote off. You know what I mean? He went to space, and we don't fucking see him anymore either. So it's just one of those things where we create these characters that are very powerful and they're very interesting, and we don't know what to do with them. Peter Parker is the greatest example. He's the greatest example of that unsung hero that carried this fucking industry. And you shit on the guy every time he turns around. So, I enjoyed it. I think that's been my favorite this year. It is probably the only one that I'll get through this year. But I read all kinds of old stuff. I still chase old books. So it's like, I don't know. I just read Wolverines recently. I thought that was a lot of fun. I mean, so it's not, I support comics. I just really don't read new comics, if that makes sense. So,
and then my last two questions, obviously the first one is, where can people find you online and follow your stuff?
Honestly, for me, just follow Ethereal.
Yeah.
Just follow that.
Everywhere you'll find both of us. There's social media, search the brand. I mean, it's going to pop up. You can go to www.ethereal-comics.com, but you don't have to. You can just go to the Facebook page. It's Ethereal Comics or whatever. Click on it. It'll blow up our website all over you. Same thing with Instagram. We do have a Twitch now.
Oh, okay.
We do a video game
every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday we spend a couple hours shooting the shit and playing video games. So, I mean, you're welcome to hang out. You guys are welcome to come see us and tell us how much we suck at video games, because we're getting old and our fingers don't move as fast as they used to. So
that's great.
It happens.
Whatever. Hey, it's part of it. But a cool thing about our Twitch is we do often get, we got new beta invites for games, and we've been showing off brand new games and stuff that we've been getting invites for.
Nice.
So we're also giving away keys. Starting at the end of November after Thanksgiving, we'll be giving away several keys to folks for some great games. Just because, again, we're grateful. Thanks for hanging out with us.
That's awesome. And my last question is kind of an off-the-wall one. What is your favorite go-to snack or meal that puts you kind of in the zone when you want to knock a couple hours out on some projects?
I'll let you have that, Brian. Go ahead.
Alrighty. I know I said this yesterday.
Good answer.
But no snacks, no meal. I'm going to be a starving Ethiopian because that's going to make me want to work harder. Because, hey, I need that payment. I can't be wasting like a 50-cent. Well, actually, it's like a $2.50 can of tuna in today's market economy.
Yeah,
money. So it's added incentive, and sounds really bad, but it really does get my And in some strange psychological way, it's
Right.
all right. Focus, get it done. Get it done.
Right.
Because I want to get that paycheck. I want to get that money. I want to get that, Uber Eats, DoorDash.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that's what I do. I don't really snack. I'm also trying to get a what is it? Glass figure type body. Why can't I think of it?
Yeah.
That time thing you put.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm gonna let you have that one though, because it's amusing the shit out of me.
I know. I'm trying to think of it. I can see it. You know that glass that has two things?
Yeah. I totally know what you're talking about. Absolutely. Like an egg.
You're not helping me, are you?
I'm not. No.
You are.
Fuck to me.
You're an asshole.
I am. To be fair.
Hourglass.
There we go.
Look, it's not fair that somebody texted you the answer, so stop.
I didn't have my phone in my hand.
Whatever. You can look
Trust
down.
me, it's not big enough to be, clicking on my phone.
I saw you. So, I, on the other hand, I don't snack on the usual things, just because I got real sick during COVID and I had a reaction to the shot, which really fucked up my metabolism. So I gained like 100 pounds in 6 months. It's fucking insane. So I don't really snack too often, but I will tell you what I always have when I'm writing, so I don't have to leave my desk and go downstairs, is imitation crab. Every time. It's low fat. I mean, so it's a great snack. It's not bad for you. It's not like it's going to raise your cholesterol or anything.
Right.
So when you're sitting for 5-6 hours at a time, it's just nice to have something that's not going to affect you in a negative way. Right. So I like me some sticks of not real crab meat.
Love that. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of today's conversation. Thank you, Dustin and Brian, for joining Comix for All today. It's been a great conversation. I've learned quite a bit, and I would love to have both of you on again at some point.
We're happy to help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a good time. We're pretty fun fucks to have around. So.
Oh yeah.
We do the thing.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining Comix for All today on October 23rd, wherever you join us from around the world. And thank you so much and have a great day.
Take it easy, guys.
Have a good one, guys.